6:30 a.m. Cedar Falls drowns in October rain. Inside Morning Brew, fluorescent lights buzz against mahogany walls while the espresso machine hisses its morning symphony. The woman at table 7 wears a black cashmere coat that costs more than most cars, yet her hands shake like autumn leaves against bone china. 3 untouched cappuccinos grow cold before her. She's beautiful in that hollow way, sharp cheekbones carved by sleepless nights, emerald eyes that dart between the rain-blurred windows and the cafe's single exit. Every headlight that sweeps past makes her breath catch. Every door chime transforms her into a startled deer. Ryan Hayes, weathered hands steady from years of single fatherhood, watches her reflection fracture in the copper espresso machine. His daughter Mia's whisper cuts through the morning stillness. "Daddy, she's scared." The observation hits home. Ryan tears a napkin corner, his pen trembling as he writes words that will shatter both their worlds. He slides it beneath her fourth order, another cappuccino she'll never taste. She unfolds the paper. Color drains from her face like spilled milk. "I know who you are, and I know why you're here." The woman's fingers crumple the napkin against her chest. Her breathing becomes shallow, rapid. She stands so quickly the chair scrapes against hardwood, the sound sharp as breaking glass in the morning quiet. Ryan watches her approach the counter, each step deliberate yet unsteady. The fluorescent light catches the tremor in her jaw, the way her pupils dilate with something between terror and relief. When she speaks, her voice carries the ghost of a British accent, polished but fractured. You wrote this." The words hang in the steamy air between them like a confession waiting to be born. Ryan nods, his weathered hands never pausing in their methodical cleaning of the copper portafilter. The morning rush hasn't started yet. Just the two of them and Mia, who sits cross-legged behind the counter with her coloring books. Steam continues to rise from the espresso machine, creating a veil between predator and prey, though neither knows which role they're playing. "You need help," he says. Not a question, but a statement carved from 8 months of reading people's pain in their coffee orders. The woman's emerald eyes search his face for deception, for the trap she's been running from for 6 months. "You don't know me." Her voice wavers like candlelight in wind. She glances toward the door, calculating distance, escape routes. The rain pounds harder against the windows, each drop a countdown to discovery. Ryan sets down his cleaning cloth, the simple gesture somehow profound in its gentleness. "I know you're afraid. I know you're hiding from someone who wants to hurt you." The woman's composure cracks like ice in spring. Her hand finds the counter's edge, knuckles white as winter bone. Behind them, Mia looks up from her drawing of faceless figures connected by invisible threads. The child's voice cuts through the tension with the clarity of truth. "The lady with the red thread." Ryan turns to see his daughter pointing her crayon at the woman, those perceptive brown eyes that have seen too much loss already. The woman follows his gaze, sees the drawing, stick figures floating in isolation, tethered together by colored lines that only children understand. "What red thread, sweetheart?" The woman's voice softens, the first genuine emotion breaking through her careful walls. Mia slides off her stool, approaches with the fearlessness of the innocent. "Everyone has threads connecting them. You can't always see them, but they're there." Mia holds up her drawing, pointing to a figure surrounded by crimson lines. "Red means dangerous, but also important. Really, really important." The woman kneels to Mia's level, her expensive coat pooling around her like spilled ink. For the first time in months, something other than fear flickers in her eyes. Ryan watches this exchange, understanding without words that his daughter sees what adults miss, the invisible architecture of human connection, the way souls recognize each other across the wreckage of their separate traumas. "I'm Zoe." The name comes out hesitant, like she's testing its weight after months of silence. Zoe Sterling. The surname hangs in the air, significant in ways Ryan can't yet grasp. He doesn't recognize it, doesn't know about corporate scandals or missing heiresses, only sees a woman who flinches at shadows and orders coffee she never drinks. "Nice to meet you, Zoe. I'm Ryan." His introduction carries no judgment, no curiosity about her expensive clothes or the desperate way she clutches that crumpled napkin. Mia beams, tears a clean sheet from her coloring book, and begins sketching 3 figures under a simple roof. "I've been in Cedar Falls 4 days. I don't know where to go next." Zoe's confession comes wrapped in exhaustion, the kind that settles in bones and refuses to leave. Ryan studies her face, sees the hollow places where hope used to live. The morning light through rain-streaked windows catches the purple shadows under her eyes, the way her lips press together to keep words, dangerous words, from escaping. "Are you hungry?" he asks, already reaching for sandwich ingredients. Such a simple question, yet it makes her eyes well with unshed tears. When was the last time someone offered her something without wanting something in return? Mia slides her new drawing across the counter, 3 stick figures beneath a triangle roof, smoke curling from a crooked chimney. "This is our house. You can visit if you want." The child's generosity breaks something open in Zoe's chest. She accepts the paper with reverence, usually reserved for sacred things. "Thank you, Mia. It's beautiful." Ryan watches this moment unfold, recognizes the way his daughter creates safe spaces for wounded souls. It's a gift born from their own trauma, their own understanding of what it means to need shelter from life's storms. The morning continues in careful increments. Zoe accepts the sandwich Ryan makes, turkey and Swiss on sourdough, nothing fancy, but her hands shake as she takes the first bite. Real food after days of gas station snacks and vending machine dinners. She tells them fragments of her story, careful editing that leaves out the dangerous parts. She's traveling, she says, taking time to think. The lies come easy because they're wrapped around kernels of truth. Ryan doesn't push for more, recognizes the look of someone living on borrowed time. By 9 a.m., the breakfast crowd has thinned to regulars nursing second cups and checking phones. Zoe still sits at table 7, no longer watching the door with panic rabbit eyes. Mia has claimed the chair across from her, chattering about school projects and playground politics with the easy intimacy of old friendship. Ryan observes from behind the counter, struck by how natural this feels, like a family photograph he never dared imagine. The realization both warms and terrifies him. He's spent 8 months building walls around his heart, protecting Mia from the possibility of further loss. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" The question slips out before Ryan can stop it. Zoe's face tightens, the careful mask sliding back into place. "I'm at the motel on Route 9. She doesn't need to say more. Ryan knows that place, where people go to disappear, to buy time with crumpled bills and fake names. The walls are thin, the locks questionable. The kind of refuge that offers no real safety. He makes a decision that will change everything. "I have a room upstairs. Used to be for overnight staff. It's not much, but it's clean. Secure." The offer hangs between them like a bridge neither expected to find. Zoe's eyes widen, searching his face for hidden motives. "Why would you help me?" The question carries the weight of someone who's learned that kindness always comes with a price. Ryan glances at Mia, now showing Zoe how to draw proper stick figure hair, and finds his answer in the simple joy on his daughter's face. Because sometimes we all need a place to start over. The truth of it resonates in the space between heartbeats. Zoe looks at Mia, then back at Ryan, and for the first time in 6 months, allows herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, she's found sanctuary in the last place anyone would think to look. The first month passes like scenes from someone else's life. Zoe moves into the small apartment above Morning Brew, insists on paying rent from her dwindling cash reserves. She works the morning shift without being asked, learns the rhythm of Ryan's carefully orchestrated routine. Her hands, once soft from executive privilege, develop small calluses from the espresso machine's demands. She's good at the work, surprisingly so. Her movements behind the counter are precise, efficient. Customers notice the way she remembers their orders, the subtle grace in how she crafts each drink like it matters. Mia blooms under Zoe's attention. The 8-year-old, who barely spoke after her mother's death, now chatters endlessly about her day, about the solar system project, about the way Saturn's rings are made of ice and rock that look solid from far away but are really millions of separate pieces dancing together. Zoe listens with the intensity of someone starved for normal conversation, for the simple pleasure of a child's curiosity about the universe. Ryan watches these interactions from the corner of his eye, noting how Zoe never talks down to Mia, never dismisses her questions as unimportant. One evening, Ryan catches Zoe on the small balcony behind the cafe, phone pressed to her ear, voice tight with strain. "I told you! No, I'm not coming back! You don't understand!" She ends the call abruptly, notices Ryan in the doorway. "I'm sorry. Was I being too loud?" The vulnerability in her voice catches him off guard. He joins her at the railing, looks out over the small-town street where porch lights are beginning to flicker on. "Want to talk about it?" The question comes without pressure, an offer she can accept or decline without consequence. Zoe grips the iron railing until her knuckles go white. "Ryan, if you found out I wasn't who you think I am, how would you react?" The words emerge careful and measured, like she's been rehearsing them. A car passes below, headlights sweeping across their faces before disappearing into the darkness. "Depends on whether you'd hurt my daughter." His answer is immediate, honest. "I would never hurt Mia. Never." The fierce protectiveness in her voice tells him more than any explanation could. Whatever she's running from, it's not because she's the kind of person who hurts children. Cedar Falls is the kind of town where everyone knows everyone else's business by Tuesday, and a beautiful stranger working at the local coffee shop becomes prime gossip material within weeks. Mrs. Patterson from the hardware store stops by with thinly veiled curiosity, disguised as friendly concern. "That girl seems nice, but she's got secrets, Ryan. You sure she's safe around little Mia?" Her words plant seeds of doubt in soil already prepared by 8 months of single-parent paranoia. That night, after Mia's asleep and Zoe's upstairs, Ryan finds himself staring at his laptop screen, cursor blinking in the search bar. He types Zoe Sterling and immediately regrets it. The images that load show a different version of the woman upstairs. Hair styled in expensive waves, wearing designer gowns at charity galas, standing beside a silver-haired man who radiates the kind of power that bends the world to its will. "Sterling heiress missing after corporate scandal," reads one headline. $50 million embezzlement rocks Sterling Corporation, proclaims another. Ryan stares at the photos, trying to reconcile the polished socialite with the woman who makes his daughter laugh, who crafts perfect cappuccinos with hands that shake when she thinks no one's watching. The disconnect gnaws at him through sleepless hours. Morning arrives grey and uncertain, matching his mood as he opens the cafe. Zoe appears at her usual time, notices immediately that something's changed in the way he looks at her. "You know." It's not a question. Her shoulders set themselves in a defensive line, ready for rejection, for the accusations she's been expecting since the day she arrived. "I know what the internet says." Ryan's voice carries no judgment, but the careful distance in it cuts deeper than anger would have. They work in silence, the easy camaraderie of previous weeks replaced by the weight of unspoken truths. 3 days later, fever grips Mia with sudden ferocity. Ryan calls in sick to his freelance programming work, hovers over his daughter's bed with the helpless terror that all single parents understand. Her temperature spikes to 103 degrees. Zoe appears in the doorway without being asked, takes one look at the situation, and quietly assumes control. "Keep her comfortable. I'll handle downstairs." She disappears before he can protest, leaving behind the faint scent of vanilla and determination. When Ryan ventures down that evening, exhausted from a day of worry, he finds Morning Brew running with clockwork precision. The register balances perfectly, the display case is restocked, and somehow the afternoon rush was handled by one person who, according to the internet, has never worked a day in her life. How? He asks, genuinely bewildered. Zoe doesn't look up from wiping down tables. I used to manage projects. Different scale, same principles. The casual way she mentions her past makes him realize how little he actually knows about the woman who's become essential to their daily rhythm. That night, Mia's fever breaks. She lies pale but alert in her narrow bed while Zoe reads from Charlotte's Web, doing different voices for each character with theatrical flair that makes the 8-year-old giggle. Ryan listens from the hallway, struck by how natural this feels. How right. Zoe. Mia's voice is small, tired. Why don't you have a family? The question hangs in the air like incense, heavy with the weight of things children understand but can't articulate. Zoe closes the book, smooths Mia's hair with gentle fingers. Do you think there are families that look perfect from outside but feel cold inside? Zoe's question is carefully neutral, age-appropriate philosophy disguised as bedtime conversation. Mia nods seriously. Like Emma at school, her house is huge and her mom drives a fancy car, but Emma always looks sad. The observation carries the brutal honesty of childhood, the way kids see through adult pretenses to the truth underneath. Sometimes the family you choose is more real than the one you're born into. Zoe's words are barely above a whisper, but Ryan hears them from his position in the hallway, feels them settle into the empty spaces of his own grief. Then you're my family now. Mia's declaration is matter-of-fact, delivered with the absolute certainty that only 8-year-olds possess. She wraps her thin arms around Zoe's neck, and Ryan watches this woman, this millionaire heiress who's supposedly embezzled $50 million, hold his daughter like she's made of spun glass and starlight. The fierce tenderness in Zoe's expression tells him everything he needs to know about her character, regardless of what scandalous headlines might claim. The next morning brings an expensive suit and calculating eyes. The man who enters Morning Brew moves like a predator, all sharp angles and measured steps. His gaze sweeps the cafe with professional thoroughness before settling on Zoe, who freezes behind the espresso machine like a deer sensing the hunter's approach. Good morning. I'm looking for someone, wondering if you might have seen her. He slides a photograph across the counter, the same image Ryan found online, Zoe in an emerald evening gown, smiling for cameras at some glittering charity event. Ryan's hands continue their steady work, muscle memory taking over while his mind races. Never seen her before. The lie comes easily, surprising him with its smoothness. The man, private investigator Kevin Brooks, according to his business card, studies Ryan's face with the intensity of someone trained to spot deception. Behind them, Zoe has turned away, her dark hair falling like a curtain to hide her profile. She's Alexandra Sterling, daughter of billionaire Jonathan Sterling. Family's very worried about her. The words carry subtle menace beneath their professional courtesy. Sorry, can't help you. Ryan maintains eye contact, lets his natural protective instincts guide the performance. Brooks lingers, clearly unsatisfied, but eventually pockets the photograph and leaves behind his card. If she shows up, there's a substantial reward for information. The door chimes his departure, but the threat lingers like smoke in the air. Zoe's hands shake as she grips the counter, and Ryan realizes they've just crossed a line from which there's no return. Whatever game she's been playing with fate has just escalated to stakes he doesn't understand. Ryan. Zoe's voice breaks on his name. She turns to face him, tears threatening to spill over the careful walls she's built around her emotions. I can explain. But Ryan's already moving, already making decisions that will bind their fates together in ways none of them can predict. You don't have to. But I need to know, is Mia safe? Are you dangerous? The questions are delivered without accusation, just a father's desperate need for truth. Mia is safe. I swear on everything I hold sacred, I would never hurt her. The vehemence in her response convinces him more than any explanation could. That afternoon, Mia bounces down the stairs, recovered from her fever and eager to share her latest artistic creation. She shows Zoe a new drawing, the same stick figures under their triangular roof, but now there's a fourth figure standing slightly apart, dark and menacing. That's the bad man, she explains with 8-year-old matter-of-factness. He wants to take you away, but Daddy won't let him. The innocent wisdom of children sees through adult complications to the essential truth underneath. Zoe kneels to Mia's level, fighting back tears. How do you know he's bad? She asks gently. Because he made your light dim. Mia touches the drawing with one small finger. Everyone has light inside them. Yours got brighter since you came here, but when that man came in, it went almost out. The observation is delivered with the casual certainty of someone who sees the world through different eyes, who understands things adults spend lifetimes trying to figure out. Zoe looks at Ryan over Mia's head, and in that moment, he sees past the scared refugee to the woman underneath, someone worth protecting, worth fighting for. The second visit comes 3 days later. Brooks returns with backup this time, a larger man whose presence fills the doorway like a gathering storm. They have surveillance footage, images pulled from traffic cameras and security feeds, irrefutable proof that Zoe Sterling has been hiding in plain sight at Morning Brew. Mr. Hayes, I think you've reconsidered your position from our last conversation. Brooks' smile carries the sharp edge of a knife drawn from its sheath. Ryan stands his ground, but his pulse hammers against his throat. Behind the counter, Zoe appears with a small bag clutched in white-knuckled hands. It's okay, she says, though nothing about her posture suggests okayness. I'll go with them. Just don't hurt anyone here. The resignation in her voice breaks something inside Ryan's chest. He steps forward, places himself between Zoe and the two men. She's not going anywhere. The words emerge from some primal place, the same instinct that wakes him at night to check on Mia, that made him quit his lucrative tech job to create a safe space for his broken child. But Mr. Hayes, I don't think you understand the situation. The larger man opens his jacket just enough to reveal the gun holstered there, a not-so-subtle reminder that this conversation has stakes beyond anyone's comfort level. Mia appears at the top of the stairs, drawn by voices raised in tension, and Ryan's heart stops. Daddy? Her small voice carries the weight of every nightmare, every bedtime story about monsters that hide in shadows. The sight of his daughter's fear crystallizes everything for Ryan. This ends now. Actually, I think there's something you gentlemen don't understand. Ryan moves to his laptop, fingers flying across keys with programmer precision. The screen comes alive with a Facebook live stream, viewer count climbing rapidly as neighbors and customers receive notifications. This conversation has been broadcasting for the last 5 minutes. 1,200 people and counting. The blood drains from Brooks' face as he realizes their carefully orchestrated intimidation has become a public spectacle. Brooks lunges for the laptop, but it's too late. The damage is done, the truth scattered across social media like seeds in fertile ground. Shut it off, he snarls, but Ryan's already protected the stream with cloud backups and automated sharing protocols. Within minutes, local news outlets are picking up the feed, transforming a private confrontation into a public reckoning. The two men retreat, their carefully laid plans unraveling in real time, leaving behind only threats and the promise that this isn't over. But it is over, in ways that matter most. 3 hours later, FBI agent Lisa Chen arrives with a warrant and a team of federal marshals. Not for Zoe, for the men who've been hunting her. The surveillance footage Ryan broadcast doesn't just show intimidation, it captures something far more valuable. In those tense moments, Jonathan Sterling himself appears, stepping from a black sedan with the casual arrogance of someone accustomed to buying his way out of consequences. The billionaire enters Morning Brew like he owns it, like he owns everything and everyone within sight. His gaze settles on his daughter with the cold assessment of a collector examining damaged goods. "Alexandra, this ends now." His voice carries the weight of boardrooms and buried scandals, the kind of power that makes senators return phone calls and judges recuse themselves. But here, in this small cafe that smells of coffee and hope, his authority means nothing. "My name is Zoe." She stands straighter than she has in months, something fundamental shifting in her posture. "And you're right. This does end now." The steel in her voice surprises everyone, including herself. Behind her, Ryan and Mia form an unlikely army, ready to stand against forces they don't fully understand, but recognize as wrong on every level that matters. This is what family looks like. Not blood or legal documents, but the choice to protect each other when everything else falls apart. Jonathan Sterling's laugh is winter wind through dead leaves. "You stupid girl! Do you have any idea what I can do to these people with one phone call?" The threat hangs in the air like poison, but it's empty now. The FBI already has his confession, recorded and witnessed by thousands. His empire of silence has crumbled in the space of one careless moment, brought down not by corporate rivals or investigative journalists, but by a single father's determination to protect his chosen family. Agent Chen steps forward, badge gleaming under fluorescent lights. "Jonathan Sterling, you're under arrest for witness intimidation, conspiracy to commit fraud, and environmental crimes spanning 15 years. The handcuffs click with finality, metal against bone, the sound of justice finally arriving after months of running. Sterling's eyes find his daughter's one last time, searching for the submission he's always commanded. Instead, he finds only strength, and the terrible knowledge that he's lost her forever. The trial unfolds over 4 months, each day bringing new revelations about Sterling Corporation's systematic poisoning of water supplies in 12 small towns. Zoe testifies with calm precision, her evidence meticulously organized, her testimony devastating in its thoroughness. She's not the embezzler the headlines portrayed. She's the whistleblower who tried to stop her father's crimes, who was framed and silenced when she threatened to expose the truth. Cedar Falls becomes a media circus, reporters camping outside Morning Brew, trying to capture the human interest angle of the billionaire heiress who found love in a coffee shop. But Ryan and Zoe navigate the chaos together, protecting Mia from the worst of it while building something real from the ashes of their separate traumas. The cafe thrives under the attention, becoming a symbol of small-town values triumphing over corporate corruption. Jonathan Sterling receives 18 years in federal prison. Sterling Corporation pays $3.2 billion in fines and settlements, most of its assets liquidated to fund cleanup efforts and medical care for victims. Justice comes slowly, imperfectly, but it comes. And in the quiet moments between news cycles and legal proceedings, Ryan and Zoe discover that healing happens not in grand gestures, but in the accumulation of ordinary days lived with extraordinary care. The foundation launches on a crisp October morning, exactly 1 year after Zoe first walked into Morning Brew. The Justice Foundation, dedicated to supporting corporate whistleblowers, operates from a modest office next to the cafe. Zoe uses her inheritance, the portions not connected to Sterling Corporation, to fund the project, turning her father's wealth into something that actually serves the greater good. It's not glamorous work, but it's necessary. Each case a small victory against the kind of institutional corruption that nearly destroyed her. Mia, now 9 and wise beyond her years, cuts the ribbon with oversized scissors while local news cameras capture the moment. She's grown into her role as the foundation's unofficial mascot, her artwork decorating the walls, her presence a reminder that the future belongs to those brave enough to speak truth to power. The stick figures in her drawings have evolved into more complex scenes. Families choosing each other, heroes who look like ordinary people, threads of connection that span impossible distances. Evening finds them in their familiar configuration. Mia at the kitchen table working on homework, Zoe helping with a math problem that involves calculating how many trees they need to plant to offset a factory's carbon emissions. Ryan preparing dinner with the efficiency of someone who's learned to make every moment count. This is what normal looks like now. Not the absence of complications, but the presence of people willing to face those complications together. The Foundation got 3 new cases today, Zoe mentions, checking her phone between explanations of long division. A pharmaceutical company in Michigan, a mining operation in Wyoming, and something involving contaminated soil in Louisiana. Each case represents someone like her, someone who saw wrongdoing and chose courage over silence. The work is dangerous, emotionally exhausting, but necessary in ways that make the risk worthwhile. Ryan sets down his mixing spoon, studies the woman who's become essential to their daily rhythm. Any second thoughts about Washington? The offer still stands. A national organization wants to partner with the Justice Foundation, provide resources and reach that could exponentially increase their impact. It would mean relocating to D.C., trading small-town simplicity for the complexities of federal oversight and political maneuvering. None at all. Zoe's answer comes without hesitation. My dream was never about the Foundation. Not really. It was about having a family that chooses to stay. The response settles into Ryan's chest like warm honey, sweet with possibility. They've never formally discussed the future, never put labels on whatever's growing between them, but some truths don't need words to be understood. Mia looks up from her homework, pencil poised over numbers that suddenly seem less important than the adults fumbling towards something beautiful and terrifying. Are you going to get married? The question emerges with typical 9-year-old directness, cutting through adult hesitation to the heart of what everyone's thinking, but no one's saying. Mia! Ryan's protest carries more embarrassment than actual disapproval. But Zoe doesn't laugh or deflect. Instead, she considers the question with the seriousness it deserves, understanding that a child's curiosity about the future stems from deep-seated fear of further abandonment. Would you want us to? She asks gently, including Mia in a decision that will affect all their lives. The answer comes in the form of a drawing. 3 figures under a heart-shaped roof, stick family happiness rendered in crayon and hope. That night, after Mia's asleep and the dishes are clean, Ryan and Zoe sit on the back steps of the cafe, watching stars emerge from the darknesses. Above Cedar Falls, the air carries the first hint of winter, the promise of seasons cycling forward into whatever comes next. I love you, Zoe says quietly, the words emerging like a prayer she's been afraid to voice. They hang in the space between them, precious as morning light, fragile as soap bubbles. I love you, too. Ryan's response comes from the same deep place that prompted him to write that first note, the same instinct that recognized a wounded soul and offered shelter without conditions. Love, he realizes, isn't the dramatic crescendo movies promise. It's this quiet certainty, the knowledge that you want to face tomorrow with this specific person beside you, whatever tomorrow might bring. 15 months later, Morning Brew hosts its first wedding reception. The ceremony was small, just immediate family and a handful of friends, but the celebration fills every corner of the cafe with laughter and the kind of joy that develops slowly, naturally, like coffee beans reaching perfect roast. Mia, resplendent in a yellow dress she picked out herself, announces to anyone who will listen that she now has 2 parents again, that her family is finally complete. The Justice Foundation occupies 3 offices now, handling 47 active cases across 12 states. Zoe works with a team of lawyers, investigators, and support staff, but the heart of the operation remains in Cedar Falls, in the belief that truth is more powerful than money, that ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things when they refuse to remain silent. The work is dangerous. They've received threats, faced intimidation, lost cases to well-funded corporate lawyers, but each victory justifies the risk. Ryan splits his time between the cafe and freelance programming, though the line between work and life has blurred beyond recognition. Morning Brew isn't just a business anymore. It's a gathering place for people who believe in justice, a safe harbor for whistleblowers waiting for their cases to be heard, a symbol of what's possible when communities decide to protect their own. The marriage hasn't changed the fundamental dynamic. They're still the same people who found each other in the midst of crisis, but it's formalized their commitment to building something lasting. Mia's latest drawing shows their family tree, stick figures branching out across generations. At the base, two figures hold hands beneath something that might be a coffee cup or a sun. Her artistic skills are evolving, but interpretation still requires imagination. Above them, smaller figures represent the children she plans to have someday, the expansion of family through choice rather than biology. At the very top, a single figure watches over them all. Mom, she explains, because death doesn't end love, just changes its expression. The drawing captures something profound about the nature of family, the way it grows and evolves and includes people who aren't connected by blood, but by something deeper than genetics. They are a family now in all the ways that matter. Bound by choice and circumstance, by shared values and mutual protection, by the simple daily decision to show up for each other regardless of what the world throws their way. As autumn settles over Cedar Falls for the second time since Zoe's arrival, the three of them stand in their backyard installing the swing Mia designed. It's a simple construction, 2 ropes and a wooden seat suspended from the old oak tree that predates the cafe by decades. But in Mia's imagination, it's a portal to adventure, a thinking spot for solving the world's problems, a place where families gather to plan their next chapter. "Hiya, Daddy," Mia calls from the swing, pumping her legs with determined enthusiasm. Her laughter carries across the neighborhood, a sound that represents everything they've built together. Joy earned through struggle, hope nurtured by perseverance, love that chooses courage over safety every single day. Ryan pushes gently, watching his daughter soar toward branches that seem to brush the sky, while Zoe captures the moment with her phone. "I can see everything from up here," Mia announces, and it's true in ways that go beyond physical height. From her perch on the swing, she can see the cafe that became their fortress, the foundation that turned pain into purpose, the neighborhood that welcomed a refugee and helped her become family. But mostly, she can see the future. Not predetermined, but full of possibility, shaped by people who refuse to let darkness win. The Justice Tree, as Mia christened the oak, stands sentinel over their small kingdom, its branches reaching toward infinity, like arms embracing everything good in the world. The swing moves in gentle arcs, carrying dreams and laughter and the quiet certainty that some stories don't end. They just transform into something larger than anyone imagined when they began. In the gathering twilight, 3 figures move together in perfect synchronization, family defined not by DNA, but by devotion, not by obligation, but by joy. They have built something precious from the fragments of their separate sorrows, proof that love is the most revolutionary force in the universe, capable of transforming refugees into family, strangers into heroes, despair into hope. And in the growing darkness, if you listen carefully, you can hear the sound of justice being served 1 cup of coffee at a time, 1 whistleblower at a time, 1 small act of courage at a time. The revolution is quiet, domestic, profound, and it tastes like perfectly roasted beans, sounds like a child's laughter, and feels like home.